Thank you, everyone. I'm Sam. I'll be the person hosting the panel today, but I'm the co-founder of Socium Media. We're a performance marketing agency specializing in paid media, SEO, performance creative. Have a few of our partners here and also our director of SEO, Ricky. But Bunmi, I'll pass over to you if you don't mind sharing a quick intro.
Hey everyone, my name is Bunmi. I'm head of growth at Magic Spoon. What is Magic Spoon? It's a 5-year-old, actually just had our 5th birthday, better for you breakfast cereal brand. So started D2C only, rapidly expanding in retail and becoming a true omni-channel player. Before Magic Spoon was at Quip, doing a similar job, and before that, big CPG companies.
I'm Charlie Denby. I'm the director of growth at Canopy. We're a beauty and wellness company. Our hero SKU is the bedside humidifier, which is maybe why people know about us. I've been in digital marketing for the past 12 years, half that time in brands, half that time in agencies, doing a similar role focused on acquisition, retention, e-commerce, and recently Amazon, actually. And excited to talk about SEO today and to share, hopefully, a few tidbits.
Awesome. Ricky, over to you.
Yeah, I got it. I'm Ricky Weiss. I'm the director of SEO at Socium. I've been doing SEO for over a decade at this point. Got my start just kind of freelancing, had a lot of little side projects, sailboatfinder.com, and some like random things that I had just learned how to do SEO through doing that. Worked at an agency previously for 4 years and started the department here. And have a great time working with these two brands.
Awesome. So let's jump right into it. So Bunmi, so Magic Spoon, a couple examples, just core generic term cereal, you're ranking number 3 on Google. Also keto cereal, ranking on the first page, high protein cereal. Just do you mind sharing a couple different strategies that have maybe helped in assisting to get to those types of levels?
Yeah, I think the quick context would be, so Magic Spoon launched in 2019. This is right before the pandemic. We had a massive tailwind. Keto was at its peak. And also, cereal is probably a $10 billion category. Most of that is in retail stores. And so I think the job of a marketer is to find share of voice and also share of attention. So most of the traditional cereal brands didn't really have a native digital presence. They weren't going D2C. We were, so that allowed us to carve out massive share of voice. And so the way that SEO plays into that is we're able to get massive first page SERP rankings on some of the most high volume terms within our category, and there wasn't a lot of competition. So I think there's a tailwind in terms of what's going on in society, a tailwind in terms of our competitors weren't in the space, and then also like really, really strong content and long form editorial that kind of satisfies consumers' curiosity about healthier for you ingredients and macros and protein, et cetera.
And just to quickly add to that, imagine a search for cereal and all of the results are essentially just people telling you to go to a distributor and they're not giving you what you want, right? A big piece of SEO is just relevancy with the keyword and like the intent of the keyword. And when somebody's making a search for cereal, they're probably looking to buy it. You know, if they're writing what is cereal, they want the answer to like, you know, what cereal actually is. So we found that out pretty quickly. The product page for Magic Spoon is what ranks for cereals, so we're giving them the experience that they're looking for. The competitors on that particular keyword are like General Mills, and you go to a map and it tells you all the distributors, but we don't have access to those distributors, right? So it was just a really interesting keyword that had a lot of opportunity, even though it was hundreds of thousands of searches a month for that particular keyword, and pretty difficult considering, you know, Walmart and Amazon and people like that are ranking for it too. But the keyword intent is super important.
Charlie, with Canopy, similar, seeing some really great growth year over year in terms of organic traffic, also just number of keywords that you're ranking for. Similar question, just what are some different strategies or things that you've been able to identify that have helped to associate with that?
Yeah, I think it's a really good question. And to follow up on Bunmi's comments, I would say there's 2 performance marketers on the stage that are going to talk to you about share of voice and search. I'm probably not going to talk to you about ROAS. And that's probably going to be unusual today. I mean, what I would say is on our journey, I think I joined Canopy month 8. I looked around and I was like, we're selling a humidifier. We need to be everywhere that someone is looking for a humidifier. How do we achieve that? Well, it's quite difficult for probably a lot of brands. I don't know if you're in the beauty industry or apparel, like you're going to really struggle to appear for like dresses or best skincare. So you've got to be really smart and creative. And in the same way that Ricky and Bunmi talk to like creativity in the search and targeting keywords where you think you can generate content that is interesting to Google. And by interesting to Google, we mean ultimately interesting to our consumer who we're all here trying to target in all the various things that we do. So to be more specific in terms of how do we dominate the SERP, how do we produce excess share of voice, which is a really targeted strategy, focused on keywords that we thought had low difficulty. And when we literally Googled them, we thought we can produce better content than our competitors in the space. And our competitors in the space are not simply brands. They are publishers. If you Google humidifier today, you'll see many, many roundup articles on best humidifiers. You'll see blog content. You'll see our bigger competitors that have been going for 20, 30 years, like Honeywell, us being a disruptor in the category. So we took that mentality and we look at how do we look at keywords. So we created a humidity now tool. There was nothing on the internet. It was lots of volume, people looking for what's the humidity in my area. So we created a sort of interesting tool for people to look for the humidity in the area in the same way that we all probably Googled the weather this morning on the way into this conference. Is it going to rain like it did last night? So we applied a little bit of creativity and we tried to think how can we pull something together that's going to be really interesting to the user in the hope that it will rank in the SERP and consistently drive more organic traffic for us. The other two things that we've done, one is every time we think about the launch of a new product, we start our SEO strategy about 6 months beforehand. What are the keywords we think we can rank for? What is the blog content we think we can produce? Should we be thinking about what people are searching before we name the product? That's a very challenging one. Internally, thinking of balancing brand and performance. But I'd say our strategy starts 6 months in advance. And then lastly, because we've had like a relative amount of success, we found like rewriting, doing longer form content in the blog, actually focusing on less keywords, but trying to produce better content. I think with all the changes that are happening in the SERP, and like Ricky could talk to you ad nauseum about that. But we've really tried to like do less, focus more, and sort of push us forward. So I'd say it's all coming from like, how do we rank? How do we be creative? And what do we continue to produce better content year over year that's interesting to our target consumer?
That's awesome. Yeah, thank you. I mean, for Ricky, so you're working with two brands that very much have that brand presence now at this point and very committed to brand building as a whole. How do you think that SEO can correlate with brand building and, just, I guess, the parity between the two?
Yeah. So with a newer brand, when we started with Canopy, we were pre-launch. Initially, it was really focused on non-brand keywords. People don't know who Canopy is yet, right? So we don't want to like just put Canopy all over the content. So we really targeted non-brand keywords. We also targeted questions people are asking, things that we all might think are extremely basic, like what is a humidifier? But that sort of content really performed well, and it established us as an authority. And one of the most important things for SEO, and it's becoming more and more important, is just demonstrating expertise, your experience, your authenticity, trust. Those are all like core values of ranking in a search engine. So by writing that type of content, answering those questions, we didn't necessarily need the authority initially, but it helped build it. For like a company that has an instrument, a single instrument, like building, a blog that answers questions all about that instrument or complementary, categories or whatever it might be. For humidifiers, we talk about musicians and how they might, how a humidifier might help them. We talk about plants and how a humidifier might help plants. So we really like built that foundation of all of that content. And then from there, we're able to expand it to additional categories once they launch new products. For a company like Magic Spoon that had a bit more authority when we started working with them, we were able to really build off that momentum. So they had a higher domain authority, which for those of you who don't know, it's like how reputable your website might be on a scale of say 1 to 100. Most brands are probably in the like 30 to the 50 range or so. I think that's right where Magic Spoon was. Facebook's like 100, Google's 100, that sort of thing. New website's a 0. So since they had that authority, we were able to target things that were more competitive, like cereal. And then we were able to dominate really low difficulty keywords like high protein cereal or breakfast cereal, low carb cereal, all of that sort of stuff. So like based on where the brand stands at that time, you kind of have to change your strategy. Once it's a bit more established, you could focus more on branded keywords because you'll see a higher conversion rate there. With somebody who's a little less established, you focus on non-brand, low difficulty stuff, but it all comes down to keyword research and whatnot. And one other thought, as the company gets bigger, you just organically generate more backlinks as more press starts to link to your website. So the focus for me initially for Canopy was like, how do you build the authority with backlinks? And they had worked with a press agency for that, which really, really helped build the authority. With Magic Spoon, they just kind of naturally come in, so we could kind of spend less time doing that and focusing more on, targeting new things.
Bunmi, back to you, just thinking ahead now. What are some things maybe just Magic Spoon's working on as a whole, or more specifically with SEO that you're really excited about and looking forward to?
Yeah, sure. I think as it relates to SEO, I'm thinking of a three-legged stool as it relates to long-form editorial. One is the content that we create, which is the content that the Socium team has created. We plan to integrate that into our website in more of a blog format. The other leg of the stool is content that you're integrated in. So like the top tier publishers that are on page one of like best protein bars or best cereal, how do we penetrate those and take advantage of those organic rankings? And then the third one is content you buy. So performance editorial, publisher whitelisting. I think those are three things that are on my mind and that we're going to expand more into in the rest of this year.
And to add to that again, but Magic Spoon didn't have a blog initially, so we didn't have an outlet to really publish content and target the keywords and questions people are asking like we did with Canopy. So we did it all through landing pages. So for any particular keyword we wanted to go after, we built a landing page that really targeted like high protein cereal. What is high protein cereal? What are the benefits of high protein cereal? And then, here are the products that are high protein cereals. And now that we have a blog, we're going to start writing more of the kind of question and answer type content, things like that. But very excited for that.
Similar to Canopy, what are we working on? What's something you're excited about SEO wise for the future?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is more of the same, which is, again, like always trying to think about the consumer with every product we bring to market. What are the corresponding questions? What are the question and answer boxes on Google that we think we can produce content for? To be more specific, we've had quite a lot of success via like specifically a backlinking strategy on SEO to some of the sort of humidity tool that we produce and looking to do more there in different arenas. Also with every new product we bring to market, we go through this period of sort of trial and testing with the SEO content to figure out what's resonating. And then like sort of more broadly to sort of Bunmi's comments, I think always trying to think like not just what is the blog, what is the PDB content, how can we improve our SEO ranking, but thinking about the SERP and like a broader strategy for the SERP that I would say from my perspective applies Google, paid, Amazon, in every single place. And I think it's so important to be really strong there with everything that's happening in our industry from a CAC, CPM, et cetera, pressure perspective. So really focus on more of the same and sort of long form content. And the last thing I would say is, I think when you go to a conference like this, it can be simple, like you've got to do 1,000 things and like, how can we replicate this and use it in different ways? We've had an unbelievable amount of success doing very simple things, like sending traffic to our blog. That's an incredible thing for an engagement. It's something for deliverability. So I think everything you do, knowing that everyone is band stripped, tight, hiring people is difficult, budgets are tight. I think amplifying like everything that you do that is successful and leveraging that for a bunch of your channels. Like we've driven search ads to our blog content to answer what makes a great baby humidifier, for example. And we've seen that be very productive. I am actually going to mention ROAS in terms of that strategy working. But I would say that we're excited to sort of continue on this pathway of better content, tools for our consumers, and hopefully continue to drive substantial organic growth year over year.
That's great. Yeah, just a couple tidbits to wrap us up here that I was taking note on. One, question-based SEO. There's new searches and questions that are happening all the time. Those are many times low difficulty, high volume type searches. Lots of planning, 6 months in. And then, yeah, just like those high volume, low difficulty type keywords, both Bunmi and Charlie, you were talking about that, and that's just a bigger strategy as a whole. We have a couple minutes here. Wanted to open it up to the crew here if there were any questions. I saw a hand raised right there.
Hi. So when you're using Shopify, you usually do your SEO strategy on the blog, or you try to optimize your product page with extra content for specific term. But since we're talking about a product, that might be hard, right? I heard that you guys do it on a landing page and on a blog, but how about the product page?
Yeah, I could definitely answer that. So we optimize every page on the site, whether it's a blog post or a product page. I actually find that, well, for context, most of our clients are direct-to-consumer products, e-commerce sites, do a lot of Shopify. So product pages are super important to optimize, but typically they're a little bit more specific. Like if you're looking at a shoe company, there's I don't know, size 9 shoes, white shoes, black shoes, all of the different types. So it's very targeted, probably lower down the funnel. Collection pages or a category page, in my opinion, are some of the most, like the best pages to actually optimize. And we try and add content to every single collection page on the site. And that allows you to just or target a little bit more of a broad keyword. So kind of the overarching shoes instead of like size 9 shoes. Then, of course, the homepage is always important. All of the blog posts are a little bit more targeted towards questions or longer tail keywords. But across the board, we optimize the title tags with the keywords we're looking to target, meta descriptions, the content on the page with the same keywords as what's in the title tag, so they support each other. Yeah, so we kind of hit everything there.
Are you guys advising your social teams across the brands just for SEO in totality? So are you guys kind of taking the same approach and either going to your TikTok or your Instagram and saying and starting kind of that same strategy, or not quite there yet?
I would say in fits and starts. I do think it's like a virtuous cycle of understanding insights from SEO. So like one specific example that translates both on our landing pages, our PDPs, and our search rankings. If you go to our PDP, one of the items in our carousel is the nutrition panel. We find if you look at a heat map, there's insane interest in the ingredients panels. And that's directly informing some of the long-form content that the team is creating around what is allulose or certain types of ingredients in our products. And I think that's then informing different ways that we can, for example, create paid ads and publisher whitelisting article topics, like the top 5 reasons that you should look for a better for you protein bar. So I think the thing is like understanding what are the insights that can translate to different channels and new strategies, whether that's paid social, whether that's more blog content or organic content.
To what level of success have you, I don't really. To what level of success has you guys started to incorporate AI into developing SEO optimized content?
Yeah, so I have a lot of opinions on AI. We don't use AI to write content. We have a team of writers. I was using AI, 5 years ago, back before ChatGPT was launched, and I felt wrong, having this AI write the content for me. So I really pivoted to having real writers. They're authors. They're award winners. They publish books, things like that. I'm really proud of that sort of content. So we don't necessarily use it to create content. However, I use it to generate ideas. I think the best way I use AI is to actually create tools to make my job a little bit easier. I built a Google Chrome extension that scrapes all of the content off a page, exports it into like a nicely formatted Word doc. Then I could go in and do like the keyword optimizations that I want to do for clients. So I think it's really beneficial that way. I'm sure there's a lot of ways that it could write a title tag for me or whatever it might be. But I think if like you are good at what that is, it's probably not the best use case if you're not good at whatever you're trying to do, then like it probably could do a better job than you might be able to. For a smaller brand, I say go for it. We work with some local clients, like an eye doctor. He has the AI write the content for it. He edits it, and for him, he doesn't have a huge budget, so it makes perfect sense, right? So it really depends. Google kind of treats all the content the same as long as it's showing that it's reputable, it's accurate, and things like that. So all power to you if you want to use it.
That's it. But thank you all so much, and we're around, so feel free to keep asking questions.